I debated if I even really wanted to make this video. I really did. This video is different from all of my funny, happy, crazy videos, but I feel like it's important for me to talk about my experience. I recently attended the 404 day in Piedmont Park. It's been all over the news and I really want to discuss what happened. Now, if you're from Atlanta, you already know about 404 day. It's a very cultural, in my opinion, a very black event. It's where people come and they celebrate the real Atlanta, the old Atlanta. To me, 404 days like celebrating Atlanta before it became super gentrified. And on Saturday, the energy was exactly what you expected. Up until the shooting, the energy was really, really good. It was a beautiful day. Everybody was in a good mood. And it felt so good to see all these black people just having fun. Everybody's just talking to each other. The weather was so good. It was perfect. Mind you, it was supposed to actually rain that day and it didn't. However, I want to say around like 7:30, that's when everything shifted. So we got to Piedmont Park at like 1:30, and when we got there were like a handful of people out there, but it wasn't as crowded until like, I kid you not, 404, because I remember looking down at my phone, checking the time, and I was like, oh, it's 404 on 404, period. And you know, we were out there with our lawn chairs, our tents, you know, really just enjoying everything. I felt like there were like two sides. We were close to like the brick section where they were playing the like EDM versions of music, and then close to where like the hibachi food truck is, where it was more so the black side. And I remember saying like, oh y'all, you know, they're playing all the old Atlanta music over here, but I think we should just stay where we are because there's so many people over there and there's, you know, not enough, you know, grass space for us to bring on. And we had already put up the tent and everything. I was just like, don't worry about it. Everything was fine. It wasn't until around 404, I kid you not, that it started to get crowded. Time progressed and it was more people that came out there, and at that point everybody, like, it wasn't even a thought of violence, or like I didn't even feel unsafe during that time. I felt fine. Time progressed and it wasn't until it was like 7 o'clock. So I say, hey, you know, it's getting dark. You want to leave? How are you feeling? You know, don't rush, because you know I never like to be the party pooper, and I was like, oh, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go. So she's like, no, let's just stay for like, you know, 20 more minutes. So as we're packing up everything, we're getting the tent ready. I remember us walking, it was just so crowded. So as we're leaving the park, I wouldn't say we're in like towards the middle. I noticed that I felt like a lot of people were leaving the park, but it felt like twice as much people were coming into the park. And I remember saying like, hey, it's really time to go. And I remember all of a sudden, I just started looking at the people coming. I said, wow, these faces are getting younger and younger. It's time to get out of here. Not even 2 minutes after I said that, mind you, at this point, we're close to the playground area, because there's a playground area and then there's a little bridge that's like right in the distance, like you can see it. I remember all of a sudden, we just hear people screaming and running. We're running. However, when I'm running, I'm literally looking behind me because I need to know, what am I running for? And y'all know, black people, when one person run, we all run. And I saw this girl, unrelated to the girl that passed away. And I remember seeing this girl and she fell. I don't know what the hell she tripped over. I think she tripped over herself. And I remember seeing her fall, bow, flat on her face. And I literally just froze, because I didn't know at that moment if I should help her. And I felt really bad. I'm responsible for my own life and my own safety, but I'm also responsible for the person that's here with me. And if I help this girl, I may be putting myself in danger. I may be putting someone else's life in danger. So I literally stood and looked at her. It felt like all of 20 to 40 seconds, which is a very long time when people are screaming and running past you. Everything just went numb in my ear, and it's like everything just went slow. Luckily, whatever guy that either the guy she was with or a guy saw her, he picked her up and was like, hurry up, let's go, let's go. I remember seeing this guy. He was like, y'all, we family out here. Why would y'all do that? We family. At this point, my anxiety is through the fucking roof. People are running. People are screaming, but I don't know what's going on. But also at the same time, people are still coming in droves to the park. Towards the entrance of the park, we see the police, and then we start hearing helicopters flying over. Ideally, it looked like around, like what the news is saying, around 7:45 is when people started to leave. And I remember we finally get into the car, and I just my breathing was labored, because you know the difference between gunshots and fireworks. And I'm not no suburban girl. I grew up in the hood too, so I get it. But that's not my life now. So hearing that, and you're in a crowded space, you don't know, bullets are flying, it's windy. I'm just thinking, like, I just don't want to be that person. I don't want this to be my story. We finally get to the car, we debrief, and we're just, that was a lot. And after leaving that park, I took a lot home. My biggest thing that irritated me about the whole ordeal, I don't think I would ever attend another 404 day event. I don't think people realize when you make dumb decisions, it really affects a lot of people, whether it be directly or indirectly. I was so upset. I saw people out there, I saw families out there with small children in the park enjoying themselves up to that point. I saw people who were disabled that wanted to come out and enjoy themselves at that park. I saw elderly people out there, enjoying themselves. Women and children were out there, pets were out there. And I could not help but think about those people, because in an emergency situation, you forget there's a mother out there with 3 of her kids. There's people out there who have certain circumstances. They can't just jump up and run. So imagine when all that's happening, people are panicking. Mind you, people have their tents out, their food out, everything out. And all of a sudden people are running. You gotta think about it. When I said earlier about how that girl, fell, and how I felt so conflicted on whether to help her, that's why I feel like it's so important to pay attention, because look at the stampede of people running. They could have trampled over her. Why could we not just have a good time? Everything was fine. And I remember when we were finally driving, I just wanted to get the fuck out of Midtown. I just wanted to leave. And Midtown, if you live in Atlanta, Midtown is actually a very nice area. While yes, all parts of Atlanta, Metro Atlanta, even the suburbs, outskirts of Atlanta has crime. It's not just Buckhead has crime, for God's sakes. But we're at a park, a public park. I can't tell you how many times I've been to Piedmont Park. I just was there maybe like a week ago for the Renaissance Festival. My God, we had a great time. Or there's Pride events, the Dogwood Festival. Like, there's so many amazing events in Piedmont Park. Nobody is associating Piedmont Park and thinking like you gotta have security, you gotta make sure that you gotta check people and scan them through medicine. Nobody's thinking that for Piedmont Park. I remember as a kid going to Piedmont Park with my family. Like, it never gave that. I remember we were right on the main street where Piedmont Park would be to our left. And I remember seeing this black truck, and it was 4 young black guys hanging out of it. And these guys could be no older than like 15, 16. I don't know who was driving the truck. I don't know if it was an Uber. I don't know if it was a family member. I don't know what. Throwing up gang signs. One doing a money spread with his hand, like just showing people. And we're in the car like, what the fuck? These guys, they were just doing so much for attention. I remember saying like, we really gotta get out of here, because my discernment is telling me something is not right and we gotta get out of here. My spirit is not agreeing with what was going on. It really affected me. Like, I came home and I had to really get myself together, because it stressed me. I'm on social media and I see there was a shooting at Piedmont Park. We were like, wow, a shooting at Piedmont Park? We were just in Piedmont Park. So at that point, we didn't hear anything, but also the music was loud in the park. And I felt so bad. Like, I couldn't even sleep that night. It affected me waking up. I had things to do in the morning. I woke up late. I was so stressed because I'm thinking like, wow, I wanted us to go to this park. It was my suggestion. Saturday, we came out to have a good time. And Up until that point, it was a good time. It felt like a family reunion. I felt so much love at that park. I felt safe at that park. There's a 15, 16-year-old girl, Tianah Robinson, who was on spring break and she's no longer here. And there's another young lady that had to be like 15 years old who got shot in the shoulder. She's expected to live, but that is traumatic. Now here's what I need people to understand, because more details are coming out. I'm gonna read some of them, and there were a lot of red flags up until that point. Witnesses saw teenagers walking into the park in ski masks and backpacks. It was like 80 something degrees. It was hot. Why people are wearing ski masks, I have no idea. According to law enforcement, they said that this had nothing to do with the event. It was a gathering that was unpermitted towards the other side that's close to the, I think they said like close to the West End. I can't remember, but basically it was unrelated to that event. However, it's too close. I'm also shocked that there was no security present during that event. Mind you, I was at the underground earlier, and it was police everywhere, dogs out there. They checking your bags, they checking everything. And I remember us going to the underground, and actually no, we were leaving the underground, and I remember this guy came out, typical YN. Man, they want to check. Why, man, what the fuck they checking my bag? Why they want to check my bag? And I'm just thinking to myself, well, maybe you don't need to be there. I remember when I was younger, I was like, oh my God, I want to go to these events, but they're all 25 and up. Why? I started to get older, and I'm 30, and now I only want to go to events where the crowd is going to be older. I want to be the youngest motherfucker in there. Older people who are sensible have more to lose. Hood anchor Ye was doing like a quick interview, and he was interviewing some kids that were there, and they were like in 8th grade. So we're Piedmont Park, it's like, it's getting late, and you got middle schoolers at the park unattended. Where are the parents? Where are the parents? I grew up in an era where you had to be back in the house before the street lights came on. They're still doing the investigation to see, you know, who is the suspect. But if you have people that are here, everybody's happy, what makes you want to take out a gun and just start shooting people? A lot of these kids have access to these guns. Where are they getting these guns from, number one? Number two, they have no formal training on how to shoot guns. That's why when they're shooting it, they're hitting people that are not even the intended target. And what makes sense to shoot somebody if you're gonna run? So you put on your ski mask to come out and cause harm to people for what? Now we got this young girl, she's gone. Another young girl, she's in the hospital, she's traumatized. And there has to be something done with the youth. Me, I don't have kids. So my opinion on this is that if the kids go out here and commit crimes like that, lock the parents up. I blame the parents 100%. Why are you in the 8th grade out there that late in Piedmont Park? Tell us when you're looking for girls. Because if you're in the 8th grade at Piedmont Park at night looking for girls, I'm assuming you looking for girls that are also in the 8th grade. And what are girls doing? No kids should be out there that late, unsupervised, without their family. You know, I'm sending my condolences to the young lady that passed. A lot of people have opinions about, well, why is she 16, 15 years old at a park by herself? We don't know all the details, but parents, you got to be involved with your children. Thank y'all for letting me vent. I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye. Also, I'm sure my lashes were coming off, but let me tell you,